Hello students, again you are most welcome to the new lecture of biology. So today we are going to discuss the sexual reproduction, and for this one we will be discussing sexual reproduction in plants. So let us consider over here, what is sexual reproduction? What do you mean by sexual reproduction? See, it is a type of reproduction in which male and female gametes fuse together to produce the similar offsprings. What does it means? That here two parents are required, one male parent is required and one female parent is required. These male and female parents, they produce the gamete cells, germ cells, like males produce sperms in the case of animals and pollens in the case of plants, and females, they produce ovum in the case of animals, and if they are the plants, if the female plant is there, it will produce egg cells. Are you understanding? If you talk about the male, and if the male is an animal, then it will produce sperm cells, and if the male is a plant, then it will be producing pollen grains. And in females, if the female is an animal, it will produce ovum, and if the female is a plant, it will produce egg cells for eggs. Is it clear? Now the next one, let us talk about, if we are studying the plant, so let us study the plant parts. See, flower is a shoot. Let us talk about the flower. Flower is a shoot. This flower you can see here. Flower is actually a modified shoot which shows sexual reproduction. Flower is a modified shoot which show sexual reproduction. Okay, flower is the reproductive part of the plant. And flowers contain calyx. You can see these are calyx. These are calyx. Calyx means sepals. These green color portion. This green color portion. These one. They are the calyx. That is the sepals. Then corolla. That is petals. You can see the colored one. These are corolla or petals. Then androecium. Androecium. Let us talk about the male reproductive plant. Male reproductive part. This is androecium. This is androecium. Androecium is with the filament. This is filament, and these are the anthers. The next one is gynoecium, the female reproductive part of the plant. Female reproductive part of the plant, that is female reproductive part of the flower. Carpel. This full portion is carpel. This full portion is carpel. Stigma, style, and ovary is known as carpel. Stigma, style, and ovary is called as carpel. So all these things let us see in detail. See, calyx, that is the sepals, they have the protective function. These sepals, they protect the flower whorl. Whatever the whorl of the flower is there, the flower is protected by the help of calyx or sepals. Okay. The next is corolla. Corolla are colored ones. These are corolla. These are also called as petals in common language. These corolla or petals, they attract the insects. They attract the insects towards them. The next part, let us talk about, is androecium. What is androecium? Androecium also means stamen. It comprises filament. This is filament. And it comprises anthers. This is anther. Okay. Anther produce pollen grains. Anthers produce, these anthers, they produce pollen grains. Okay, very, very minute. On the flowers, when you touch a yellow color powder which sticks on your hand, that is the pollen grains. Then mature pollen grains have germinative and vegetative cells. Mature pollen grains have germinative and vegetative cells. Okay. Whatever the mature pollen grains are there, suppose this is a pollen grain and this is mature pollen grain, so it will have germinative cells as well as it will have vegetative cells inside it. Okay, so the generative cells, they form two male gametes. Whatever the generative cells are there, they'll form the two male gametes. This is the pollen grain, so within the pollen grain, this is suppose the germinative cells over here, these germinative cells. This is germinative cells. So germinative cell will be forming two male gametes. Here two male gametes you can see. Gynoecium, it is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is the female reproductive part of the flower. It comprises stigma. It comprises stigma. It comprises style. This portion, middle portion is style, and this is ovary. This is ovary. You can see in the diagram. Okay. Hope it is clear. Now, within the ovary, this is the ovary. This is the ovary. This is the ovary. This portion is ovary. So within the ovary, the ovules are present. You can see here, this is the diagram of the ovule. Okay. Ovule is present inside the ovary. Within the ovary, ovule is present. So an ovule contains a micropyle opening. This is the micropyle opening. This is the opening. This is the micropyle opening. Why this opening is there? Actually, when the pollen grain will be developing into a pollen tube, this pollen tube will be touching over here, and from here the male gametes, they can pass through this tube into this ovule. For that, this ovule is having this opening. Okay, this ovule is having this opening. This ovule opening is called as micropyle. Okay, this is surrounded by the layers. These are the layers. You can see these are the layers. These layers are there. These layers are called as integuments. Okay, these layers are called as integuments, and it is connected by the help of a funiculus or a funicle. This is funicle. This is funicle. This is funicle or funiculus. The base part is called as chalaza. Okay, the base part is called as chalaza. This is the chalaza. This is the base part. The base part is called as chalaza. This is chalaza. Base part. Are you understanding? Inside an ovule, this ovule is present. This full portion is present inside the ovary. So inside the ovule, inside the nucellus, 7 cells are present. You can see here 7 cells are present. These 3 plus 3, just a minute, 3 plus 3 over here, 3 plus 3 6, and this one is there, this is there, one more, this is 7, and this full portion is called as a central nucleus. Okay, so 7 cells with central nucleus are present inside the ovule. Okay, inside the ovule, one central nucleus is there, and 3 plus 3 plus one more this cell, 7 cells are present. Are you understanding? One of this cell or these one of this cell fuses with the pollen gametes or the gametes of the male part of the flower. It fuses with the male gamete, and thus the embryo or the seed is formed after that. Are you understanding? So it's just kind of a gist you take. Later on we'll be discussing this one also. Now let us talk about a concept called as pollination. Concept called as pollination. So children, what is pollination? When the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, that is from the male reproductive part's anther to the female reproductive part, that is the stigma, is done, that is called as pollination. You can see this is the anther. You can see from the anther the pollens are getting transferred to the stigma. You can see here that within this diagram from the anther the pollens are getting transferred to the stigma. So this is called as pollination. What is this? This is pollination. Okay. So pollination is done by the help of some agents, pollinating agents like air, water, insects and birds. Here an insect is a pollinator. It is a pollinating agent or a pollinator. You can see very well. Now let us discuss about the types of pollination. See, the self-pollination is one of the type, and self-pollination is also called as autogamy. Self-pollination is also called as autogamy. Okay, so in this type of pollination, what is happening? That the pollens are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Within the same flower, you can see in the diagram I am marking over here, within the same flower, the pollination can occur, or between the two different flowers, but these two different flowers will be on the same plant. Okay, these two different flowers will be on the same plant. So here the same plant is there, on the same plant, suppose two different flowers are there, one flower is this, one flower is this. This is a male flower and this is a female flower. So from the male flower, when the pollens are going to the female flower, or there or suppose on the same plant, suppose these are the anthers and this is the stigma. So from the anthers to the stigma, if the pollens are going, then within the same flower, within the same plant, then it is called as self-pollination. So what is self-pollination? When the pollens, they are transferred from anther to the stigma of a same flower, or if on the other flower, then this other flower should be on the same plant. So what is the advantage of it? See, the advantage is bisexual flowers without any pollinating agent, they can do self-pollination. So self-pollination is very well popular in bisexual flowers, the flowers which have both male and female reproductive structures. Same flower is having male and female reproductive structures, that flower is called as bisexual flower. Okay, what is bisexual flower? A flower which is having both male and female reproductive structure. So what is the disadvantage? Actually here, exactly the clones, exactly the same type of the plant is formed. Same type of plant is formed. Same type of plant means the same thing which the parent plant was having, the same type of features the offspring plant will have. So it is good, but it's not so much good. Means that this offspring plant should be little with the changes. Otherwise it will not survive. Suppose some disease was coming to the parent, then the same disease will come to the offspring, and this is the problem. So if the offspring was having little changes, then it may not get the diseases of its parent. Are you understanding? That is why this is the disadvantage. This is an disadvantage. Now, one more type of pollination is cross-pollination. So what is cross-pollination? That in this method, the pollens are transferred to the stigma. The pollens are transferred to the stigma from anther. The pollens are transferred to the stigma from anther, that is from anther to the stigma in two different flowers. There are two different flowers, you can see two different flowers, and these two different flowers are on different plants also. This is on one plant number 1, this is on plant number 2, and these two flowers are also different. In this case, whatever the pollination is there, it is a cross pollination. Means that when the pollens are transferred from anther to the stigma in two different flowers and into different plants, these two flowers are present in two different plants, and then the pollination is done, that is a cross pollination. So what is the advantage of the cross pollination? That whatever the seeds are formed due to cross pollination, they are adaptive, means they have little variation. Whatever the seeds will be formed, suppose this is the parent plant, whatever the seeds it will bear, now these seeds which have been formed due to cross pollination, now seeds when they will be grown, now whatever the offsprings will be there, these offsprings will have little changes. So these changes will help this plant to survive. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about the disadvantage, that pollination may fail due to distance between two plants. Suppose this plant or this flower, these two flowers are present on different plants, and if their distance is more, then the cross pollination will fail. So this is one disadvantage of it. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about some pollinating agents and the type of pollination which they do. So if the pollinating agent is, or the pollinator is wind, then this type of pollination is called as anemophily. If the insect is the pollinating agent, it is called as entomophily. If water is the pollinating agent, it is called as hydrophily. If animal is the pollinating agent, it is called as zoophily. So here zoophily doesn't mean that the animal will be any big animal. Here the animal may be a bird, animal may be a squirrel, or animal may be a rat, Okay, here insects, any insects can be there, any flying insect like a bee can be there. Wind you know, and water also you know. Okay, so whatever the wind is there, if wind is the pollinating agent, then the pollen grain should be light weighted so that it can be carried by the help of wind. If you talk about the insect, then the flower should be very attractive. The flower should be very attractive, colorful. Then only insects will come to it to do the pollination. Same way with the water. Whatever the pollens are there, they should be water resistant. They should be water resistant, waterproof, so that they should not decay due to the water. Okay. And same way here, you understood about animals, I told you. Hope it is clear, children. You people are understanding. So thank you, children. You may have noted down. Take care. Have a nice day. Thank you, children.